Hello Seekers! Today I'm going to bring to you the first round from the online league we are playing in Malediction. If you don't know what I'm talking about, jump into our Discord. I'm going to leave the link here on the comments or the description, and you can join the Discord channel where we schedule games, we talk about Malediction and several other useful information. But if you know what I'm talking about, you know that's going on at the first online league. It's a non-official tournament, it doesn't have any prizes or anything like that, but it's an excuse for us to battle each other and to test our skills. And today I'm going to bring you my first round on such tournament, alright? So jump in with me and check out how was the first game. We rolled the dice, of course, you already know the drill, and we started gaming. After we place all the terrains, I'm just going to skip this forward. I obviously recorded the match. We placed the husks, and you can see here that the husk placement, it was quite standard, right? We have basically a cross around the battlefield, but like I always tell you guys, husk placement is very important. Let me zoom out a little bit here. I always tell you guys that terrain placement and husk placements are a major part of the game, alright? Here we can see that this corner over here, the bottom right corner, is a little bit further from the husks. The top right can reach this one easily, and probably with double move can reach this one. The top left can reach both those relics with a double move of a 6 inches unit, and the bottom left is also in bad cheese. It can only reach this one. So the top part of the map, it has some advantage, right? But note that this terrain over here, it is positioned so it has the windows through the other terrain, as does this one. So this terrain over here, it's kind of a trap, and it was intended, all right? After the placement, we bid for initiative. If you take a look at my hand, I was very comfortable. I'm playing Londrel against Ingor, so I want my units to survive Ingor's blasts, right? And I have here Londrel, of course, that is already spell immune, but we have the Spell Eater's Mask on the relics that opened. That was a very important information for me because I do want my units to be spell immune. So I was debating in two course of actions that I could do. I could place Londrel with the crossbowman, because then I would still have Echo to counter or prevent damage. If, for example, my fear was that I placed crossbowman and he cast Unmake to kill my crossbowman. Londrel plus crossbowman, 13 Echo, plus the counter for 3 more, I would be at 16, so 4 Echo left. I gained 4 Echo each for the second round, so I would not manage to place Rogarth on the second round as I intended. But if I place Rogarth right now, he could even cast Unmake, wouldn't kill Rogarth, and on the second round I could heal him back with Rites of Healing. That was my strategy. I don't care, even if he, for example, cast Untrack the Mind instead of Unmake to make Rogarth hit Montreal, it wouldn't kill her and I could heal her back. So either way would be better for me. I chose Initiative because I really wanted to pick that relic, and he chose the sides. He ended up getting the top right, and I was left up the top left, and I was left with the bottom right. Okay. After we bid for initiative, we made the deployment. So, like I said, I placed Londrel with Hogarth, fully aware that he was going to unmake or untrack the mind or anything like that, because his only deployment was Ingor. But like I said, I didn't care. I was aiming to get 2 relics. I really wanted Hogarth with Spell Immune and Londrel with the Helicarry, because armor is very important to him. So, as foretold, he made his first activation, activated Ingor, and did an unmake on my Hogarth. And did an unmake on my Hogarth. It was okay, I still had plenty of HP left, so I activated Montreal to go fetch one of the relics, and I could get the bottom one, but since Hogarth has a lot of movement, I could already engage with the one on his corner, which was good for me because it's easier for me to get the relic on the bottom middle than the top middle. It's closer. So I decided to go full offense over there, and I got the relic I wanted for Hogarth. He got the bow for Ingor because he wanted more offensive, and I managed to get the Reliquary for Londriel as well. So this was the first round, everything as I planned it to be, pretty much. So no surprises here. For the second round, even if he challenged for initiative and won, I still have I would still have 5 Echo, so I could prevent the damage, reveal a card, gain Echo, and counter something else that he did, because the way I positioned here Hogarth, he would have to move to manage to strike him. So I knew I could make Hogarth stay alive even if he cast something or managed to have a good roll on his dice. So for the second round, he did challenge for initiative, and I just gave it to him because my hand was quite good. And for deployments, I didn't make any deployments because I needed the echo to protect my units. And he deployed a Course Force Bowler and a Dead at Arms. Of course, the elves stood near Ingo over there. He activated first because he won initiative, and like we discussed, he moved Ingor just enough for him to hit Hogarth and made a swing for it. He rolled, go ahead mate. He rolled a 9 plus 3, 12, Hogarth's armor is 14, so it was a graze for 5 damage still, because he had the bow for ranged expert. 5 damage, didn't kill Hogarth, I was okay with that. So he tried to make another attack with Adrenaline Rush, and just as foretold, I prevented it because I could. That was my side deck. Which activated Londriel's Legacy. I revealed the Moment Weaver to get 2 Echo back. That was how much I needed to cast Rites of Healing, as I told you before. In this case, I activated Hogarth. I really wanted to engage Crossforce Boar because I could one-shot him and then cleave Ingor and strike Ingor again. Would be lethal if I managed to hit everything, but I just didn't have enough movement for that. In that case, I just moved Hogarth closer to Ingor, cast my Rites of Healing to heal him to 11, and made 2 swings against Ingor. The first one was a hit for 6 damage, and the second one was also a hit for another 6 damage. So Hogarth was almost dying, and since he would still have 2 activations and he could cast more spells, he could, manage to keep initiative and hit Hogarth again. I decided it was best for me, since both my units are spell immune, just to discard a spell card and heal 5 for my relic. So after that, he made his activations. So after that, he activated his diagrams and moved closer to Hogarth to make 1 strike. And he rolled a 13, so it was a hit for 4 damage because he has Swarm 1. And then Londriel activated just to move enough inside the terrain over there and strike Ingor again. From that position, I was protected from his melee units because they would have to go around her, and with 8 range, she would still manage to strike both the Dead Arms and Ingor from that position. So that was what I did. I swing and I hit because I had +6 to strike, 5 damage. Ingor is dead, so another 10 mastery for me. So at this moment, the game was 30-0 for me, and I still have Hogarth there, almost full, and he only had the boar to activate. He used his Legacy to look the top card of his deck and decide if it was going to be on the top or the bottom of his library, and he chose to leave it on the bottom. And since Ingor didn't enter his discard pile, he was back to the Seeker zone, he didn't trigger his Legacy. So after that, he just activated the boar and make a strike against my Hogarth. 11 plus 1, 12, that's a graze for 1 damage, no big deal, no harm done. And we were like this for round 1. I was with Hogarth engaging both his units, and Londriel over there ready to strike him. That was the end of the round. We drew 2 cards, and I decided to bid for initiative because I had the upper hand here. I thought it was better for me to activate first and maybe swing twice against his Dead at Arms to persist it, so he would have 1 last activation, and then I could win the game. I bid for initiative, he contested, but I won either way. So I asked him to deploy first. He deployed Farsight Ambusher with the Hunting Bow to have 15 range, which was quite cool. And I deployed only my Citadel Crossbowman because at this point I could just move my Crossbowman to the relic, claim it, and I would have 40 mastery. So the only thing I had to do is to keep both Hogarth and the Crossbowman alive for the round, right? So I activated first. I made Hogarth attack his Dead at Arms. Here I could have tried to kill the boar, cleave the undead, and then hit the undead again. I could, it would have been the best course of action, but I was confident that I would just, exhaust his Dead Arms. At this point, I didn't think it would make much of a difference, and I didn't want Hogarth to kill the boar because I didn't want to take 3 damage before his archer plays, because, well, maybe his archer could kill Hogarth with 1 activation, and that was a risk I was not willing to take. So I made 1 raise and 1 hit, so I didn't exhaust his Dead Arms, unfortunately, he activated the dagger, and after that I used the dash because I didn't want both his dagger arms and the Customer's War to activate and make 2 swings against my Hogarth and still be enraged for 2 strikes for the action. So I moved to Hogarth with his dash just to be away from the Farsight Embusher, so I would take at most 1 strike from him. So I took 1 retaliation from the dagger arms, which was a hit, and 1 retaliation from the boar, which was a graze for 5 damage total, and I discarded a spell card just to heal him for 5. I did that instead of preventing the damage and trigger my legacy because I didn't want to spend Echo, right? And heal 4 was better than preventing 5. Heal 5 was better than preventing 4 damage. So that was my choice. He activated the board to be engaged there and make 1 strike against Londriel. It was a graze because she had 16 armor due to the relic. So he did 1 damage and I made the strike back, which was a hit for 5 damage. So he was down to 1 HP. Again, I didn't want to kill the boar because I didn't want my crossbowman to get 3 damage because then he would die for 1 attack from the Farsight Embusher, right? I then activated Londriel because the Farsight was my concern, but if I managed to kill his dagger arms, it was going to be enough. So I made 1 strike, took the retaliation from the boar, which was a graze, and I hit the dagger arms, and he persisted. And this is a very important time of the game. Let me bring you back here, because at this point I had to make a decision. I had already managed everything I wanted. He had only 1 echo, he wouldn't be able to cast any spells, he only had the Farsight Embusher to make an activation, and the Farsight Embusher would make only 1 attack, because he would have to move to attack my units. So 1 attack, even if it was a critical hit, it would do 6 damage. And 6 damage, it was just not enough to kill any of my units. So at this point, I knew I would win the game, because I could just move my Citadel crossbowman and get the relic. But, and now I want you guys to judge me. Leave a comment and tell what you think. Because this is a friendly tournament, alright? This is intended for us to have fun and for us to, you know, talk to people, meet other players and stuff. If I ended the game right now, it's not going to be a fun game. My opponent would not have enjoyed it. My opponent would, you know, just have lost on round 3 without managing to make his deck building work. So I made a decision to continue with the game, to see if his deck was going to help him do something. And that was the start of my fall. I decided to make my second swing, and I took another opportunity for the boar. I was not worried with that at this point. So I made the swing, the boar grazed again for another damage, and I just killed, oh no sorry, the boar made a hit, but I killed his unit. He revealed the Soul Whisperer, got his 2 echo back, and that was just enough for him to make what he needed. Because he then activated the Farsight Embusher, made 1 strike, it was a hit, and he used the echo he just got to cast Adrenaline Rush and make another attack and kill my Citadel crossbowman, preventing me from winning the game at this round. With that being said, we went for another round in the game. I was still close to the other relic, so I just needed a creature. But right now I had exactly 11 echo, but both my units were engaged. If I deployed my Spellbound Devour on my deployment zone, he would not reach the relic that I needed. So it probably was a mistake not killing the boar, but as I told you before, I was not worried with that. So I just bid for initiative. Actually, I had initiative, he was bidding for initiative. I didn't want to spend one of my items because there was no chance I would win the bid, so I just gave him. Beware that he bet a card with 2 echo. The tie belongs to the one that doesn't have the initiative, so I would have lost anyway. That being said, I still had 11 echo, and I had 1 damage prevention card, only 1. That's not enough, but since both my units were already engaged, I could not deploy them over there. I thought it was best for me not to make any deployments and to keep my my echo for the next round, because then I would probably kill the boar or something like that, prevent the damage with my spell, and manage to, if I needed, counter any other spells he cast. So he deployed 2 other units, a Dagger Arms and a Deadeye Archer, which are 2 very basic and very cheap units, which was actually good for me. I was not worried, because I still had Londriel at a decent amount of health, and Hogarth with also 10 HP. Both of them spell immune, so right now my only concern is only the Farsight Embusher, which is his strongest unit, and if I kill the Farsight Embusher right now, I would score 8 mastery. That's more than enough than what I needed to win the game. So that was my plan. The only thing I needed to do was to kill the far side Imshire, and that was my goal. I didn't need to deploy any other units, so I would stay like this to possibly trigger twice my legacy by preventing some damage and by negating any of his spells. I did make a mistake though, because I should have used Rogarth to kill the boar and move towards his units. He activated the Farsight Imshire first, because he had the initiative, and struck Rogarth twice. And that kinda was a problem for me, because even on the graze, he was dealing 3 damage, so it's quite powerful, and I only had 1 damage prevention spell. With my Rogarth at low health, I didn't want him to take 3 damage from the boar and be engaged with the Deadeye Archer and the Deadeye Arms, because Deadeye Arms has Swarm 1. So even if he grazed me twice, it would be 4 damage still. So it was quite dangerous. So the only thing I did was to prevent this 3 damage and get the 3 echo back. So it was for free and I could take a look at my top cards. The top card was the Manifest, which is one of my favorite spells. So I kept it and drew it for my legacy, right? I didn't gain any echo from there, and I could have won the game this round again if I had thought about it. But at this point, the game was so fun. We were talking so much on the Discord chat with lots of people there watching as well, and I just went with the crowd, you know. On my activation, I activated Londriel, traded the Reliquary for the Scepter, because then I would manage to kill the Archer. I should have the Manifested the boar first though, and I didn't, and this fucking boar scored 2 hits against my Londriel. He made a lot of damage to her, and I was definitely not expecting that. I managed to swing twice against the Archer, once for a hit, I took another damage for the Dire, and the boar hit me again with for another 3 damage. I was definitely not expecting that. I killed his Archer, which was part of my strategy, it was very important for me, because then I would reach the threshold I needed, and I could not kill the boar, otherwise Lodriel would die for the Death Thrones. So like I said, I should have the Manifested the boar first to avoid these two retaliations, but I just didn't think about it at the time. After both strikes, I killed the Archer, he revealed the card. It was not worth it for him to use because both my units are spell immune, so he would do no damage. And I demanifested the boar, because the boar would have 2 strikes against Londriel. So if he get 1 hit, he would kill her. Whereas the Deadeye Archer would have only 1 chance, because he would have to move and then shoot her once, and he would have to hit her to kill. So my decision was that I demanifested the boar, which, as I said 3 times already, if I had done before, I wouldn't have taken 6 damage with Londriel, but that's what happened. And that was his turn. He activated his Deadeye Archer and went for the play of the game, or something like that, because if he missed, it was game over. If he made a hit, he would be in game. And it was a hit. He managed, because he had 2 accuracy, he scored exactly what he needed, and Londriel died, and I did win. With that play, I was left with only Hogarth. I could have moved him towards his units, but my thought was, I'm going to move a little bit further, because then I was going to deploy my Spellbound Devourer, and with that I would have 2 big units to grab the other relics. But I didn't measure it well, I didn't notice he could reach the relic, and he just moved his Deadeye Arms and grabbed 2 relics on this round. It was a huge mistake, again, because I should have left Rogarth there just to contest the relic, just a little bit closer down, but that's life, right? He took the Spell Ring for his Archer and Ranged Retribution for his Deadeye Arms. On the next round, I drew Telekinesis and my Lancer. I wish I had the Lancer on the previous round, right? Because then he would reach the relic. And I make a bid with my item, mostly to oblige him to discard a card. I didn't expect to win with that bid. And right now I had 15 Echo, and he was with 14, a lot as well. And we went for deployments. At this point I had only 1 unit in game, and none of his units were enough for me to win. So I just wanted the relic. I decided to cast Londriel again, because he still had the option to cast Entrap the Mind. And if I deployed my Spellbound Devourer and he used Entrap the Mind, he would kill Hogarth. which would be terrible for me. So to play safer, I deployed Londriel to help me out on this one. On his end, he deployed Ingor again, which was a very good move actually, because he had initiative. So if he hit my Hogarth twice and scored at least one hit, he would kill my Hogarth, the same way that I was trying to avoid it. And he also placed another boar, not another, right? The one that I sent back to his hand with the manifest. So right now, my Hogarth was in real danger because I didn't draw any other damage prevention spells. So he activated Ingor and went for the 2 swings. It was 2 grazes, and Hogarth was left with only 1 HP to run for his life. 1 is enough, right? But I didn't feel very safe with just 1, so I activated Hogarth and he just ran for his life. I could, for example, have telekinesed Ingor for him to be closer and blocking the other guys, and discarded my last counter to heal Hogarth, because then he would probably manage to hold the other 2 attacks, but I didn't want to risk him and I just moved. And since I was not going to use it, I discarded the telekinesis, so Hogarth would have a little more health. And this is something that's very important. I had to move pretty much over there to be away from the boar's charge and away from the archer's range. Whenever you guys move on the battlefield, you have to take into account the range for the enemy units, either by charging you or move and a strike. At this point, I knew he was not going to manage to cast spells because he had only 2 echo and he needs 3 for Adrenaline Rush, so I knew the archer would not make 2 movements and make a strike. So he activated their arms, moved it just enough, and strike Londriel. The strike was a hit, unfortunately. So he dealt his 3 damage. Londriel activation, I could have tried to kill his dead arms, but he was with Race and Retribution. I didn't want to take 2 strikes back, and I just shifted her, so I could contest the relic and oblige him to make several movements. So he moved and attacked once with his Deadeye Archer. It was a grace for 1 damage. So he just activated his boar and moved with him to be closer to Londriel and contest the relic. He didn't have enough movement to make a strike, so he just moved and blocked my reinforce there, which was really sad because I wished he had only blocked the relic, not Londriel reinforcement, because then I would have my big fat Spellbound Devourer with me to, help clear the path. Well, that being said, we drew another 2 cards for the next round, got our Echo, and I got a spell and my Warfront Commander. At this point, I really wanted to have the initiative, and I had 15 Echo, so I had to make a good bid. Between the Spellbound Devourer or the Warfront Commander, I was more inclined to lose the Warfront Commander, so I bid him, because I would manage to cast my Spellbound Devourer and still have the Echo to cast one of my other spells. That was a honest mistake, no harm done there. We bid, I won, and I asked him to make his deployment first. He deployed another boar, engaged with Londriel because he was reinforcing Deadeye Arms, so it was okay, a valid move. And another Deadeye Archer, close to his previous deployed Deadeye Archer, right in the Starcast Hall over there. So he had 6 activations right now, and I was going to have only 3. So I had to make them count. What I did, I just deployed my Spellbound Devourer, the only way I could, which was near Hogarth. Unfortunately, he doesn't move a lot, so it didn't help me to place him there. And we start activating. I activated first, I activated my Spellbound Devourer to move him and block both his archers. So what happened here is that the recording we were making, it was cut off and I didn't notice. So I'm just going to tell you guys what happened next. I moved my Spellbound Devourer to block both his archers, so he could not make any ranged attacks with them. He activated his Ingor and tried to but damage my Londriel, and he managed to do so. She was left with 9 HP, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 9 HP. So he made a move and 1 strike. It was a grace for 3, so she was at 9. I then activated Hogarth, placed him right here in the middle, engaged with all his 4 units, discarded my counter to heal Hogarth, and I only did that because at this point, God knows why, but my opponent's discard pile was empty. It was turned face down, so I thought it was like his side deck or so, and I discarded the counter instead of Brewing Fate. another mistake, things happen, don't do that. But I moved Hogarth here, it was the dash and a double move to be engaged, so I make one strike, kill the boar, another strike, kill the other boar, and the other cleave, it went on the archer. Why did I do on the archer? Because he could just move, contest the relic, and shoot Londriel if he wanted to. Since I killed both boars, Londriel has taken 6 damage, plus 3 from Ingor, so she was at 3. If he just moved and attacked, he would most likely kill Londriel. That was not a risk I was willing to make. Whereas the Derai Archer, Derai Arms, could only hit Hogarth without receiving retaliation, and he was at only 4 HP. So it was, a better decision in my head. Which actually worked quite well. The problem is, he activated his Archer, used the relic, the ring, and cast Adrenaline Rush from his graveyard, from his discard pile. If I had remembered he had that, I would have saved the counter, right? But as I said, it was face down, I didn't notice. He used Adrenaline Rush to make Ingor make another strike against Londriel and killed her. So I was left without any other activations. What I was going to do was to kill the Dead at Arms, so I could be here contesting the relic all alone and I wouldn't die from the Archer, for example. It was a very fun game. It was a very long game, but we had fun, most of it, and I want to know, do you think that my decision from the very beginning of the game, of letting all of this happen, was a good decision for this kind of tournament, or do you think I should not have done such thing and just end the game? Let me know what you think, but it was a very great game. We both enjoyed it a lot. We had like 15, 18 people watching us playing, and everybody was with their hearts pounding, and that's the spirit, right? I hope you have enjoyed this gameplay. I will bring the other games from this tournament to you guys. But please leave a comment, like this video, subscribe to the channel, share the channel with your friends, spread the word, let's make Malediction great. Let me know what you think about this match specifically. See you guys later, Seekers!